Imagine stepping into a place where the air itself can kill you, a place where a single sip of water could be deadly, where the ground burns beneath your feet, and help may be hundreds of kilometers away. We often think that humans have explored every corner of the earth, that technology has allowed us to conquer nature. But there are still places on this planet where nature remains firmly in control. Places so dangerous that governments restrict access. Places where a small mistake can become a death sentence. And places that seem less like Earth and more like another world entirely. From lakes that appear to turn animals into stone, to islands ruled by venomous predators. These are the places where survival is never guaranteed. Our journey begins in northern Tanzania. Near the border with Kenya lies a place that looks almost unreal. From above, it appears as a vast red and orange stain stretching across the landscape. At first glance, it may seem beautiful, but beneath its striking colors lies one of the most unusual environments on Earth. This is Lake Natron, named after a naturally occurring mixture of minerals. Lake Natron is unlike most lakes found around the world. It sits within the East African Rift Valley, a region shaped by powerful geological forces over millions of years. The lake is relatively shallow, and during the dry season much of its water can evaporate, leaving behind thick deposits of salt and minerals. What makes Lake Natron truly extraordinary is its chemistry. The lake receives large amounts of sodium carbonate and other alkaline minerals from the surrounding volcanic landscape. As a result, its water can become extremely alkaline, reaching a pH level similar to that of ammonia. In some areas, water temperatures can rise to more than 40 degrees Celsius. For many animals, these conditions are simply too harsh. Yet Lake Natron became famous around the world for another reason. Photographs emerged showing birds and other animals that appear to have been turned into stone. The images were both fascinating and unsettling. Many people believe the lake possessed some mysterious power. The reality, however, is rooted in science. When animals die in or near the lake, the mineral-rich water can coat their bodies with deposits that preserve their appearance. Over time, these remains can look almost like statues frozen in place. The phenomenon is rare, but it helped create the lake's haunting reputation. Despite its hostile conditions, Lake Natron is far from lifeless. In fact, it plays a critical role in the survival of millions of lesser flamingos. The lake's extreme chemistry keeps many predators away, creating a relatively safe breeding ground for these birds. Each year, vast flocks gather here, transforming the shoreline into a sea of pink. It is one of nature's most remarkable contradictions, a place that appears deadly, yet serves as a sanctuary for an entire species. Lake Natron reminds us that danger and life often exist side by side. What seems impossible can become an opportunity for the creatures adapted to survive there. But while Lake Natron's threat comes from its unusual chemistry, our next destination is dangerous for a very different reason. An isolated island where venomous snakes became the undisputed rulers of the land. Located about 35 kilometers off the coast of Brazil lies an island that most people will never be allowed to visit. Covered in dense vegetation and surrounded by the waters of the Atlantic Ocean, it appears peaceful from a distance, but appearances can be deceiving. This is Snake Island, officially known as Ilha de Queimada Grande. It is considered one of the most dangerous islands on Earth. Unlike many dangerous places, the threat here is impossible to miss. It comes in the form of thousands of venomous snakes. The story of Snake Island began thousands of years ago. At the end of the last ice age, rising sea levels separated the island from mainland Brazil. Animals that were once connected to the continent suddenly found themselves trapped. Among them were a population of snakes. Cut off from the mainland, these snakes followed a different evolutionary path. Over countless generations, They adapted to life on the isolated island. With few natural predators and an abundance of birds to hunt, their numbers grew. Among them emerged one of the world's most remarkable reptiles, the golden lancehead. Found nowhere else on Earth, this pit viper evolved a venom powerful enough to quickly immobilize birds before it could escape over the ocean. Its venom is considered among the most potent of any snake species. Scientists study these snakes because their venom contains compounds that may have medical applications. Yet working on the island requires extreme caution. Every step must be carefully planned. The exact number of snakes living here remains uncertain, but researchers estimate that thousands inhabit the island. For this reason, the Brazilian government strictly controls access. Only authorized researchers and members of the Navy are permitted to visit under special conditions. Over the years, Snake Island has inspired countless stories and legends. Some have exaggerated the danger, claiming there is a snake on every square meter of land. While such claims are not accurate, there is no doubt that this island contains one of the highest concentrations of venomous snakes found anywhere in the world. Snake Island is a powerful example of evolution in isolation. Separated from the mainland, nature created a unique ecosystem unlike any other. But even an island filled with venomous predators seems almost welcoming compared to our next destination, a place where the ground bubbles with acid, toxic gases rise from the earth, and temperatures can reach levels that challenge human survival itself. Welcome to the Danakil Depression. In northeastern Ethiopia, near the borders of Eritrea and Djibouti, lies a place so strange that astronauts have studied it as an example of what other planets might look like. A place where the landscape glows with shades of yellow, green, orange, and white, where poisonous gases escape from the ground, and where the heat can be relentless. This is the Danakil Depression, often described as one of the most extreme environments on Earth. The Danakil Depression sits more than 100 meters below sea level and is part of the Great Rift Valley, a region where powerful geological forces are slowly tearing the African continent apart. The first thing visitors notice is the heat. Average temperatures here are among the highest recorded anywhere on the planet. For much of the year, daytime temperatures regularly exceed 40 degrees Celsius. In some areas, the ground becomes so hot that simply working outdoors for extended periods can be dangerous. But heat is only part of the story. Beneath the surface, the Earth is constantly active. Molten rock rises from deep underground, heating groundwater and creating hydrothermal fields unlike anything found in most parts of the world. As these hot waters reach the surface, they dissolve minerals from the surrounding rocks. When the water evaporates, it leaves behind brilliant deposits of sulfur, salt, and other minerals. The result is a landscape that looks almost alien. Pools of bright green acid bubble from the ground. Steam rises through cracks in the earth, and toxic gases can collect in low-lying areas. In some locations, the air itself can become hazardous to breathe. Scientists consider the region one of the most geologically active places on Earth. It offers a rare glimpse into processes that are constantly reshaping our planet. Yet despite these harsh conditions, people have lived and worked here for centuries. The Afar people have long crossed this hostile landscape to harvest salt. Using traditional methods, they cut large blocks from vast salt flats and transport them across the desert. It is difficult and dangerous work, carried out in one of the world's harshest environments. The Danakil Depression is a reminder of the immense forces operating beneath our feet. For most of us, the ground feels stable and permanent. But here, the Earth reveals its restless nature. This is a place where continents are slowly breaking apart, where volcanic activity constantly reshapes the landscape, and where survival requires enduring conditions that few humans could tolerate for long. Yet even this seemingly alien world is not the hottest place in our countdown. For that, We must travel to a location where temperatures have pushed the limits of human endurance itself, a place whose very name warns visitors of the danger ahead. Death Valley, in the heart of the Mojave Desert, in the western United States, lies a place that seems to live up to its ominous name, a land of endless salt flats, rugged mountains, and scorching heat, a place where summer temperatures can become so extreme that simply being outdoors for too long can be life-threatening. This is Death Valley, located primarily in California. Death Valley is part of one of the hottest and driest regions on Earth. Much of the valley lies below sea level, surrounded by mountain ranges that trap hot air and prevent moisture from easily reaching the basin. The result is a natural furnace. Sunlight heats the valley floor. The surrounding mountains absorb and reflect that heat, and the hot air becomes trapped within the landscape. Year after year, temperatures soar to extraordinary levels. In 1913, a temperature of 56.7 degrees Celsius was recorded at Furnace Creek, a figure that is still recognized by many as the highest air temperature ever reliably measured on Earth. Even today, summer temperatures regularly exceed 50 degrees Celsius. Under such conditions, the human body struggles to cool itself. Sweat evaporates almost instantly. Dehydration can occur rapidly, and without adequate water and protection, heat exhaustion can quickly become heat stroke, a medical emergency that could be fatal. For early travelers crossing the region, these conditions pose a constant threat. In the 19th century, groups of pioneers attempting to reach California passed through the valley in search of a better future. Many suffered greatly from thirst, exhaustion, and extreme heat. Their experiences helped give the valley its haunting name. Yet despite its reputation, Death Valley is far from empty. Life has found remarkable ways to survive here. Tiny fish inhabit isolated desert springs. Plants bloom after rare rainfall. And animals such as bighorn sheep coyotes and kit foxes have adapted to one of the harshest climates on Earth. These species survive through specialized behaviors and biological adaptations developed over thousands of years. Death Valley demonstrates both the power and resilience of nature. It is a place where environmental conditions push life to its limits. A landscape that appears barren and unforgiving, yet still supports a surprisingly diverse ecosystem. But while Death Valley's danger comes from extreme heat and isolation, our final destination presents a different challenge entirely. No boiling acid pools, no deadly snakes, no record-breaking temperatures. Instead, it is a place that remains isolated from the modern world itself, a place where outsiders are forbidden, and where one of the last uncontacted peoples on Earth continues to live according to traditions that may stretch back thousands of years. North Sentinel Island. Far out in the Bay of Bengal, among the Andaman Islands, lies a small forest-covered island that has become one of the most isolated places on Earth. From the air, it looks almost like paradise. White beaches, dense tropical forests, crystal-clear waters. Yet few places on Earth are more off-limits. This is North Sentinel Island. For thousands of years, the island has been home to the Sentinelese, one of the world's last uncontacted peoples. Very little is known about them. They have no known written language, no known connection to the modern world, and they have consistently resisted outside contact. While much of humanity has experienced agriculture, empires, industrialization, and the digital age, the Sentinelese have continued to live according to traditions that may stretch back thousands of years. Their isolation is extraordinary, but it is also fragile. For outsiders, the danger of North Sentinel Island is obvious. The Sentinelese have repeatedly made it clear that they do not welcome visitors. Throughout history, several attempts to approach the island have been met with hostility. Boats that drifted too close were attacked. Helicopters conducting surveys were met with arrows. and outsiders who ignored warnings discovered just how serious the island's inhabitants were about protecting their home. However, the greatest danger may not be to visitors. It may be to the Sentinelese themselves. Because after thousands of years of isolation, they likely possess little immunity to many diseases common in the outside world. Even a routine illness carried by a visitor could have devastating consequences for the community. For this reason, the Indian government has established a protected zone around the island. Approaching without authorization is prohibited. The goal is not only to protect outsiders, but also to preserve the health, culture, and independence of the Sentinelese people. North Sentinel Island raises questions that few other places on Earth can. In an age of satellites, smartphones, and global travel, should every corner of the world be explored? Should every community be connected to the modern world? Or do some places deserve to remain untouched? Unlike the other locations in this documentary, the danger here does not come from nature alone. It comes from the collision of two very different worlds, one connected by technology and globalization, the other determined to remain independent. And perhaps that is what makes North Sentinel Island so remarkable. Not because it is the hottest place, not because it contains deadly predators, but because it reminds us that even in the 21st century, there are still places beyond the reach of modern civilization, places where humanity's story has taken a very different path. From poisonous lakes and venomous islands to volcanic wastelands and scorching deserts, these locations reveal just how diverse and dangerous our planet can be. They remind us that despite all our technological achievements, nature still holds places where survival is never guaranteed, places where the rules are different, and where humanity remains only a visitor.